Next, we have before us Fancourt Subdivision, Magnolia Road, modification to subdivision. Question from Concom to ask if boards had any objections to the demolition of the house, because they said that they would allow the house to be demolished if we had no objection. I take it that this board has no objection. Okay. Thank you.
So no matter what happens, or in order for a subdivision to be put in there, a new subdivision plan needs to be submitted. Now, we keep saying that the owner could build something as of right. What, other than that one house, what else could he build? Is there a subdivision that he could build without needing a subdivision plan? So what could be done as of right? Just the single home?
But build a synagogue
on the property. Right. You could do all kinds of stuff under Dover, right? But
synagogue, mosque, temple,
the
basilica. All right. Now, if it is rescinded and this property just goes fallow and ends up being sold, let's say, through bankruptcy court, which wipes it of all its prior obligations, etc. Now there is a new owner, and the new owner comes before the planning board and just says, here is my as of right subdivision of the land.
Well, first of all, he has put in for all these different filings. That's fine. And as far as I know, all of the checks have cleared and everything like so.
If, to the extent that I give any other body in town advice, I would, if you and your chairman are talking to town council as well, about perfecting the fines with a lien, et cetera, may be something that's worth being in front of.
That is something that is in sight.
I think, to the extent that we can hit something with a stick, we've hit this with a stick. My initial thought was rescission, and I'm still completely comfortable with that. The only thing that I would leave open is if town council or there's some element that indicates that our action would be more enforceable or more survivable from the town in potential litigation for us to issue a series of new conditions. The thing that I think is of singularly the most important is that the record at the Registry of Deeds, so that some poor sap coming along reading it in, you know, tradesmen and bankers says, hey, there's a parcel of land available in Natick, and goes down there and buys it. That just the most rudimentary due diligence of going to the Registry of Deeds, he will find something other than a decision which we are saying in over the counter here is inoperable. So I think that we have to get something recorded at the Registry of Deeds that says not so fast. Rescission, very clear that we would say that.
Dave Shaughnessy, 7 Bayberry Road. This development is right behind my house. I was the one that requested the 10-foot do not disturb zone because that particular lot, that house will be 25 off of my property line. When I put my house, which I built, I went before the board and got a variance. My house is very close to that property line. So I requested that to maintain some privacy between myself and the new house, and also to buffer the noise and the sight of the Mass Pike. So that's the reason for that buffer zone. As far as the do not disturb zone, what was there were at least 4 trees that were either oaks or maples. At least 4. I just want it on the record that I never asked him to clear cut that do not disturb zone. He had plans to do that, and what I said was the big oaks and the big maples that wreaked havoc on my yard and my pool, I would have loved to have seen them go. Just those trees. And I did have a conversation about that. I was under the assumption that we would go before the Conservation Committee or before you. I don't know which entity could alter that do not disturb zone for a few trees. That was my understanding way back. But I never asked him to clear cut anything. There were no dead trees back there. So there was a discussion about taking 1 or 2 with approval, but I never asked him. It doesn't really matter anyway, because I have no authority. I I never gave him, I mean, I don't have the authority to tell him he can clear cut that. And I'm losing my train of thought.
To be on the record, initially, he was nice. He came to visit all the neighbors, being nice, suggesting what he's doing, and talking to us in a nice way and charming way to all the neighbors. There was an exchange with Mike Conley saying that we did. Never. I travel quite a lot for my work. I've had a few emails with him, and when he said about something about the trees, I remember telling him, your guys are working, one of the trees is dangerously leaning towards my house, and he said, I'll cut it. I said, thank you. That's the only exchange around the trees.